Something happened this morning that I'm really trying to capture it. I'm trying to capture it, but it's so much on the inner. It's so subtle. I made a shorter video called "No Pain, No Gain" because as these experiences happen, as you bring yourself, as you're brought by your innate intelligence using dimensional movement, and your innate intelligence just pulls you into presence, then all this information, all this understanding begins to unravel and show you aspects of yourself that were just default. They were unconscious. It's like, this is who I am. But as they are brought forward into presence, you recognize that's actually keeping me from being here. It's holding me back from being completely present. So let me give you a little history. I was an athlete. I was a great athlete as a kid, and as a girl growing up, I recognized that I was in the 19 you have to say the 1960s, 1970s. I was a kid growing up, and there were a few competitive athletic sports available to girls at that time. A few. And so I got into them. To prove that I mattered, because in that era, the stuff that boys did was, highlighted and important. And, all the protagonists were men and boys, and girls were like in the background, like, oh, what should we do now? That was the significance of girls at that time. So it was very personal to me. I was like, I don't matter. So I wanted to prove that I mattered. So I got into athletics, I got into competitive sports, and I became, better than the boys. And I proved that I mattered. And a part of being in athletics, a part of athletic training, is no pain, no gain. It's pushing yourself past the point of what you think you can do. And I did that and had this sense of myself as invincible. That quality of invincibility that comes when you go beyond what you think you can do. And this morning, I recognized that old hurt of I don't matter and invincibility were like this nugget of duality that was still operating within me. And that a big part of my persona is still this kind of, I'm still invincible. Of course, the consequences of that persona are, the opposite. Like, we're going to show you that you're not invincible. So as this process was rising to the surface, coming to my attention and coming fully into my presence and into my awareness, that sense of invincibility melted. Like the innate intelligence of my body began to melt my invincible persona, and there I was in presence without it. And instead of feeling like I didn't matter, and instead of feeling incredibly vulnerable, I felt fluid. I felt the natural state. My natural state is actually a state of fluidity. Like, I don't need to bring my shield of invincibility with me when I'm encountering other people, or when I'm sharing myself, or when I'm expressing. I can just be natural and feel the fluidity of my being. And if somebody doesn't like it, if there's some hurt coming my way for one reason or the other, there's a fluidity. It passes through. It passes through. So dimensional movement is dimensional movement. It means that whatever is happening in the dimension that you're in, it's going to move through you, and you're going to move through it. And this intelligence gives you the ability to show up in a natural state, which is a state of presence. And it's not a mental state. It's not a conceptual state. It's not a belief about yourself. It's not a belief. And it's not an unconscious persona. It's just, here I am. I'm here. What else is here? And what might happen, what's happened for me, is that the richness of the moment, the richness is rich. It's a rich tapestry. There's just so much going on in the present moment. And once the personas drop, once the dualistic twists of subconscious nature, once they begin to drift away and melt, you can see it all. You can see more. You can see and sense more of the richness of the world, and it's also quite natural and quite beautiful. And suddenly, you may find yourself appreciating people and things that you didn't even notice before, because you were too busy, thinking about where you were going to go and what you were going to do. This new state of movement, this dimensional movement, is like allowing whatever's there to be with you, and allowing yourself to be with whatever's there. So I don't know if that's clear, but if it is, and if you're curious and if you're more interested, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and in the description there's a link to my website, and you can book a Zoom session, and we can meet and we can talk about this more.